So today we are going to give you a little bit of an update on ACAP and I'll let you know where we're at. There's a few things that you guys need to be aware of, and we want to go through some spending plans information that we would like you guys to do. So we'll go ahead and get started. Just to give you a brief overview what we're going to talk about today. Program update, the Western Region ACAP. Not much to report there, but you'll see here in a second. ACAP allocations updated. We're going to talk about the delegation agreement. ACAP County Conservation District spending plan is also what we want to cover. So our Western Region ACAP update, there is a new baby girl in the SEC family. Rebecca Psycho had her little baby girl that was born on November 20th at 6:02 a.m. She said that she's all right with us sharing a picture of her little girl. I wanted to let the Western Region know that the little girl is here, and we plan to have Becca back probably the first of the year here. So in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything that comes up, any issues, contact either Sam, Zahner, or myself. We're covering the Western Region as we speak. So just to give you a little bit of update on the ACAP allocations. The initial ACAP allocations was approved in May 2025. As you all are aware, we had a budget impasse that didn't get settled. We didn't get a final budget until November 12th. So that changed it a little bit. So we was notified by the budget office that we actually have a little bit more money sitting for ACAP than we originally thought. I think it was originally supposed to be 35, 37, or 38. I don't know exactly what it was, but with the new funds, counties could see an increase of up to maybe 1%. So what happens with that? Those original allocations would have to be updated. We got word on in November with that. We updated those numbers. If you guys want to know what your number is, please reach out to us. We can let you know. But we plan on taking the new updated allocations to the board for December 16th to have them approved. So again, you can see is upwards of a 1% increase. We'll take that to the board December 16th for approval. Once that is approved, we'll work on encumbering those funds and get them out to you as quick as possible. We've been hearing that the comptrollers have been about 2 months behind, but they're gaining speed every day. So hopefully it's not another month or two till we see those allocations reach you guys. So we're probably looking at late January, late February at the latest, hopefully late February. But just to give you guys an indication of where we're at with the allocations. The delegation agreement, we're in the process of creating a new delegation agreement. As of right now, I wanted to read an excerpt from the delegation agreement that we have currently. As you can see, the payment for the program activities that's in your delegation agreement. I'm just going to read it just for ease. So it says, upon full execution of this agreement, the commission may pay for expenditures for work pursuant to project contracts entered into the district from July 11th, 2022 through June 30th, 2027, unless extended by the commission. All project works pursuant to the contract entered into during the term of this agreement shall be completed by December 31st, 2026. And that coincides with the federal funding. That's the way we wrote this delegation agreement, is we knew that the funds had to be, the work had to be done and the funds had to be out the door by December 31st, 2026. So that's why that's in the delegation agreement that way. So expenditures for such work will be paid by the commission, paid by the commission to the district no later than June 30th. So everything has to be work completed and paid out by the district by 2026. We have at the commission up to June 30th, 2027 to get those funds out the door. It'll probably be quicker than that. Hopefully we don't have to worry about the deadlines, but that's what we're looking at right now. Also in the spending funds section, the only sentence I'm really going to point out is all funds awarded annually must be spent within 24 months from the date that the district receives the funding approved for the fiscal year, but no later than December 31st, 2026. So that's what the excerpts I took out of the delegation agreement, just to give you some background information here on the next slide. So under the current agreement, that's from July 11th, 2022 to June 30th, 2027. But the original agreement was based off the federal funding, which everything has to be spent and completed by December 31st, 2026. So that allows us to give you reimbursements up to June 30th. So what that really means for state money. So under the current agreement, spending of the state funds is actually shortened. And it creates an issue. So for fiscal year 25-26, according to the agreement that we have right now, that has to be spent by December 31st, 2026. That gives us a year. But there's a part in there that we can extend, which gives us some saving grace with the state funds, but it does not give us any saving grace with the federal funds. So the federal funds have to be spent by December 31st, 2026. You all know that. But the state funds, we could do an extension. That's something that we have to look at, talk to our legal, talk to our budget office, see what that looks like. So as of right now, we're looking at that December 31st, 2026, the way the delegation agreement is wrote. So with that being said, SCC staff thought it would be a good idea to look into a new delegation agreement. We're in talks right now with legal to create a new delegation agreement that would take effect July 1st, 2026. So any fiscal year 25, any fiscal year 26 money and moving forwards would be in the new delegation agreement. Now those terms would overlap a little bit because we're looking at a July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2031 agreement for that. So there would be some overlap. The legal is telling us that would still be good. So we'll be working with two delegation agreements if we're able to get this through here in July. So any fiscal year 26 money moving forward would hopefully be on that new delegation agreement. I know Justin is on. Justin, do you have anything else that we need to cover with that?
No, you did pretty good. I think, we need to just keep emphasizing that end of 26 deadline, especially the federal money. There is zero wiggle room there, right? That federal money has to be out the door. And, you've got districts have a lot of state money that is, the agreement that money is on ends June 30th of 27. But the way the agreement's written, the work has to be done by the end of 26, right? So there's really the end of 26 is that firm deadline. But overlapping agreements, you're all should be, like the managers at least should be familiar with this. That's how dirt and gravel road program works. There's just a little bit more time overlapped in between the end of one and the start of another one. So I think it would be prudent on our end to sign a new delegation agreement July of 26. That way we're not putting a full year of money into an agreement that you all have 6 months to spend. So that's why we're working on that right now to hopefully get a new delegation agreement here in July, give you more time to work on that. But the old money still, you're still under a delegation agreement with a deadline, like Eric said. And Eric will go over here in a minute with your idea for a spend plan for all of you. So I think that'll really help us get a good picture of where you're all at and help you see what you need to do to get to that deadline. So thanks, Eric.
Yep. All right. So we got through all three of those. Our next topic is the ACAP County Conservation District Spending Plan. So the purpose of this is to ensure the districts have a good spending plan to spend the ACAP funds prior to the 12/31/2026. The number one priority, of course, is that those federal funds. But as you realize, we do have fiscal year 24/25 ACAP state funds out there as well. So it's a good idea that we need to get these plans together and to make sure we're going to get these deadlines met. So the reason this is coming about is PDA, the Pennsylvania Department of Ag budget talks, will be coming around here in early February. Legislators will be asking lots of questions on the progress of where ACAP is and whether we want to meet those deadlines. That's going to dictate if we get any more money coming into the ACAP. So there's a lot of things that we need to get situated. A lot of questions we need to get answered. We want a pretty good feedback, pretty good feel of where the districts are, what they're spending, what their plan is to get those dollars out the door. We realize that GIS sometimes doesn't paint a very clear picture of what the actual status is at the district level, because we're not asking for applications or anything like that. So we felt that we needed to put something together for you guys. We put a form template together, and we're requesting that the districts fill that out and have that back to us by December 19th. I know it's not that far away, but this is very important for us to get all the information back to us in time so we can get these reports ready for these budget talks. I want to emphasize this is very important to us. It's going to be very important to you guys too, because if we don't have a plan or if we don't spend, we don't meet those deadlines, I can see then the legislators are like, well, districts don't seem to need all this money, cut the funding back, and we don't want that to happen. We'd like to get more funding into the ACAP program. That way we can still function the way we are right now. And if we get more money, we could possibly expand as well. So it's very important to have these spending plans done and back into us in a timely manner. So what's that spending tracker look like? I'm just going to cover what's included in that. We realize that conservation districts may have this available or have some kind of tracking that they're already doing. We do have a template. If you have something else, please reach out to us. So we're looking at funds overview. That's federal and state applications, the contracts that you have. We would like the status of those complete contracts, in process contracts, and anticipated contracts. Administrative funds, we're looking at both federal and state. Technical assistance funds, federal and state, and then looking for verification whether the GIS seems accurate or not, whether the information that you provide to us is actually in the GIS. As it pertains to the contracts. I think right now we'll give you the template. Katie, do you have that up by any chance? I'll let Katie walk through this with you guys.
All right, so as Eric mentioned, this is a template. It's basically providing a high-level snapshot of your ACAP spending. It's showing how much funding was awarded, what has already been spent, what you've committed but not yet spent, and then any remaining funds that have not yet been committed that you will need to commit. As Eric mentioned, if your district already has a spreadsheet or a system tracking this information, you can continue using what you have. The template's optional, and it's just intended for those that may not have something like this already and would like a tool to stay organized with their projects and their spending. So just going over it real quick, the funds overview is just a general snapshot of your overall funding status. It's how much money you've been awarded, how much you've spent so far, how much you've allocated, and then all of your anticipated but not yet contracted funds. And then it will show how much you have remaining and what percent of your funding you still need to allocate. It then goes down to an application section, just getting a general idea of your pipeline activity, how many applications you have, how many you've approved versus how many are pending, which may mean that they'll then be turning into contracts here in the near future. Going down to the contract section, just showing your total number of contracts and the total amount of funding that you've allocated for contracts so far. We then break the contracts down into 3 groups. We break it down into completed contracts. So as the name says, it's your closed contracts that are fully paid. And then we have the in-process contracts, which are your open contracts. So that's anywhere from your signed agreements to finishing up construction or like waiting for your final payments. And then your anticipated contracts are your applications that are going to your board for approval in the near future. So it's not committed funds yet, but it should be soon. You then go down into your admin and technical assistance, just breaking down what you've spent so far in admin and TA and what your budgeted realistic numbers are for spending the future admin and TA expenses. And then at the end, there's a verification box just saying that the GIS is up to date and includes all of the contracted projects along with updated payments and other information. GIS is often used to pull data, so it's important that you're updating it as often as possible. We understand that sometimes it is stagnant because of just reviewing it every quarter, but it's still good to update it as expenses and projects come up. So if you choose to use this template, you're welcome to customize it and make it your own to fit your county. Again, it's optional. If you feel that you are going to use it, you can let your regional coordinator know, and we can kind of pre-populate some of the information for you. So we can use ACAP GIS to pull in your contracted amount, your payments issued to date, and then your admin and tech assistance spending. So we can at least get you a good head start, and then you can kind of fill in any information that's changed since previous quarter. A lot of these are not auto-calculated because we do have to split up the projects into federal and state. So I do have an example of one filled out, and then it also shows how I came up with the calculations up here. So I'm sorry I couldn't auto-calculate things. It just kind of depends on if it's federal or state to determine like which column it should go in. So if you get confused or if you want assistance, reach out to your regional coordinator and we can help you fill it out.
Question in the chat. Mark said, so if I understand this correctly, the new funds, which are state funds to be allocated in December, must be spent by December of 2026. Spent is defined as construction completed.
Yes, technically the way the agreement is written right now, that's the way it would be. And we'd have up till June 30th, 2027 to spend out on those. That's where I talked about the possibility of an extension. We need to be looking into that ASAP because we know that those funds have been pushed back because of the budget impasse. A lot of times it's a little bit easier to get an extension because of that. It's just something we need to look into. And as soon as we find out that information, we'll forward it on to you guys. But the end date of this delegation agreement is going to be June 30th, 2027. If we can extend it past that, that would be great. We just don't know. We can see us giving some leniency on that and legal saying it would be good to go to June 30th, 2027, but we'll have to talk about those extensions.
Eric, can you bring up the slide with the delegation agreement with the words in there? That'll give everybody, if we give everybody an understanding of what we're talking about a little bit more. Perfect. So, like, if you read this, right, the commission can pay for expenditures for work pursuant to project contracts entered into by the district from July of 22 till June 30th of 27. Okay? Unless we extend it. Now read the next line. All project work pursuant to those contracts shall be completed by December 31st of 26. So the work has to be done by 26, and we can reimburse for that work until June 30th of 27. Okay? We can't. Expenditures for work will be paid to the district no later than June 30th of 27. So we can't pay for anything after June 30th of 27 that was encumbered to this agreement. So the work has to be done by the end of 26, and we can't reimburse you after June 30th of 27. But like Eric said, we're working on extending that, and hopefully we can get you that till, if we can extend the 2026 deadline for state funds till 2027, June 30th to 27, we can. Hopefully they'll let us extend the reimbursement date too at the same time, but that's something we got to work through with contracts. So as of right now, work has to be done by the end of 26, reimbursed by us to you by the middle June 30th of 27.
Yeah, Yeah, that's why we realized that we need to get another delegation agreement in there, because we didn't want to, for fiscal year 26, which is not too far away, is we'd be encumbering you funds, and if we use the old agreement, you'd only have 6 months to do the work on it, and that's not feasible or plausible for you guys to even do.
There was a comment in the chat. I just want to read so that everybody hears the response. So the question was, for the spending plan, would you like a note on potential projects? We have multiple projects that are in the design process that have not submitted ACAP applications yet. To date, they total about $3 million. And Sam replied, yes, we have a section to note that on the spreadsheet we will be distributing to you all.
Also, the regional staff will be pre-drafting as much of this information as we can for you all. So we're going to go through and pull all the data we can get out of the GIS and pre-populate it in there. So when you get it, you should get an individual pre-filled out. And that'll also give you an idea of like, oh, the GIS isn't up to date either, right? So that might give you a reminder to go in and get the GIS up to date if there's old info on there or something's not right. So also, the regional staff is more than willing to meet with all of you and go through this individually and help you, and also, and help guide you in the right direction or give you any help you might need. We can get the center involved if you need help finding projects or any step of the line there. We can offer assistance and help move things along. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. They can help you walk through this. We're not asking you to do it on your own. Just dump the paper on you and say, please fill this out. That's what regional staff's there for.
I'll just reiterate what Justin said. We are here for you. We don't want to create any more duplicate work than necessary. This is just very important for us to get the information, so we are prepared to answer questions and maybe ease some thoughts that the legislation may have about ACAP and spending.
Mark added a note in the chat. He said, thank you. Just wanted to be clear on that. Should definitely push for extensions, as we, the districts, were put into this position by the legislature and governor outside of our control. A question just came in. When will districts receive the populated spending plan template?
As soon as we can populate, we'll get it out to you as quick as possible. We got the deadline of December 19th. We know that's not too far away. So I'd say today is what, Tuesday? By the end of the week, you should have them.
If anybody has any additional questions, you can unmute and just ask those questions, or you can type them in the chat. There's no more questions coming in, Eric.
If there's no more questions, we'll give you just about a half hour back, a little over a half hour back from the original 1 hour that we had scheduled for this. Again, please join us January 15th for GIS data validity update, and as well as some quarterly reporting information. So that's pretty good timing. Quarterly reports will be due about that time. It's a good idea to get all that information out there and give you a little bit of background on some data validity that we're looking at. So please join us January 15th for that webinar. I appreciate your comments and your questions today. If you have any more, please reach out to either myself or our regional staff. We'd be more than happy to help you out, especially with this template. It may feel overwhelming. Please reach out to us. We can help you with it. All right. Thanks.